You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast.
Good morning, everyone. This is Debbie Royce, Empire State Development's Corporate Secretary. I'd like to welcome everyone to this morning's Bond Financing Committee meeting. And before we formally begin, I would ask everyone to please mute your line unless you're speaking. We'll begin today by taking a roll call of the committee members. Chair Kevin Law.
Here.
Benson Martin, Designee for the Superintendent of the Department of Financial Services, Adrian Harris.
Here.
And Raymond Orlando, Designee for the Commissioner of the Department of Economic Development, Hope Knight.
Present.
Thanks so much, everyone, for joining today. And Chair Law, you're ready to begin.
Great. Thank you, Debbie. Good morning, everyone. I now call to order the meeting of the Bond Financing Committee, members of the New York State Urban Development Corporation and doing business as Empire State Development for this Friday, September 9th, 2022. Before we get started, I'll ask everyone to please mute their phones until you're ready to speak. Also, for the record, I will ask that anyone wishing to speak, please be sure to state your name before you begin. I'd like to remind everybody that in accordance with current legislation, this meeting is being conducted by teleconference. I will also note for the record that the public was given the opportunity to comment on the agenda item by submitting their written comments by noon yesterday. And one comment was received, and that was provided to all committee members and is also posted on the ESD webpage. The committee members have received the relevant written materials in advance of today's meeting and are free to ask questions at any time. I will now ask if any committee members have any potential conflict of interest with respect to today's agenda. If so, could you please make the appropriate disclosure on the record at this time? Hearing none, hearing no conflicts, I will now ask Miyoko Okobu to present today's agenda item, which relates to preliminary actions in connection with the issuance of state personal income tax revenue bonds and/or state sales tax revenue bonds. Miyoko, when you're ready, please begin.
Good morning, and thank you. Multiple Project Acts, Related Appropriations Act, the New York State Personal Income Tax Revenue Bond Program Statute, and the New York State Sales Tax Revenue Bond Program Statute, collectively known as the Project Act, authorize ESD to assist in financing certain programs and projects and to refund bonds previously issued by state entities, including ESD. Here intends to issue one or more series or subseries of state-supported tax-exempt and/or taxable bonds. Bonds will have fixed interest rates and will be issued in an amount not to exceed $2.6 billion, including issuance costs. The bond proceeds are expected to be used to fund projects, refund bonds previously issued by ESD and/or other state issuers, and pay ESD's costs and expenses incurred in connection with the issuance of the bonds. ACB authorization. The Public Authorities Law requires approval of the New York State Public Authorities Control Board, commonly known as the PACB, for the acquisition, construction, or financing of any project proposed by ESD. In order to move forward with this transaction, the ESD Bond Financing Committee is being asked to approve the submission of a PACB application for the proposed sale and issuance of one or more series or sub-series of bonds. Details of the PACB application can be found in the board materials. Mention of counsel. This morning, the committee also is being asked to authorize the corporation to enter into legal services contracts with two firms, Nixon Peabody LLP and DC and Associates PAPC, in connection with the bond issuance. Both law firms were selected from ESD's pre-qualified counsel list as having bond financing expertise and experience working on state bond issuances. The appointment of both law firms also represent an equitable distribution of legal work among ESD's rotating slate of bond firms, including minority and women-owned business enterprise law firms. These law firms will advise ESD on securities, taxes, and other related legal matters in connection with the issuance and sale of the bonds. ESD uses experienced bond counsel on all of its bond issues. These legal services will be funded from the bond proceeds as a cost of issuance. I, along with a member of ESD's finance team, are happy to answer any questions at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayoko. Do any committee members have any comments or questions? I just want to disclose for the record that I used to be a partner in Nixon Peabody, the bond counsel here, but I left that firm 18 years ago, so there's no conflict, and I haven't been there in more than 18 years. But I figured I'd disclose that for the record. Also, we did get one comment from the public, and I think it's worth just explaining that exactly what it is that we do here. So in the state budgetary process, the state, the budget allows for the issuance of bonds for various state operations. And there's only a couple of entities that actually issue bonds for the state, and UDC is one of them. And so these bonds that we're issuing today are not just for ESD purposes, but they're for several state purposes and several state agency purposes. And one of the questions from the member of the public was, are any of these bonds being used for the Penn Station reconstruction plan? And the answer is no. So I figured I'd share that in an effort to be transparent here, like we try to do here at ESD. And with that, I will move the motion for approval. And is there a second?
Second by Benson.
Second, thank you, Benson. All in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? No. Thank you. The motion carries. There being no further business, do any other committee members have any other business they'd like to raise at this time? Hearing none, there being no further business, I will call for a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So moved.
And is there a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The meeting is adjourned. Thank you, staff, for your preparation for this meeting, and we'll take these resolutions and move them on to the PACB. Have a nice weekend, everybody.
Thanks, you too.
Thanks. Bye.